morning. It is a fresh day, and yet I am still ready to rumble. I still have lots to say. My whole life I've been taught that anger is bad and that I'm bad for feeling anger when I do feel it. And listen, the thing about anger is that it's actually quite productive because it puts us into action. It lights a fire under our ass, which is what you're witnessing right now. And, the thing about it is that it's helping me come unfiltered. And so I'm really allowing what I'm feeling and processing right now to be put to good use, right? I'm not going to stuff it. I'm not going to shove it because where anger goes when it's suppressed in the body is right to the liver. And so that's a little fun fact. If you are someone who struggles with your liver or digestion, AKA your liver, then you may want to explore your relationship with anger. But we're not talking about anger today. We're actually going to be talking about fear. I came here to begin the process of unfucking our relationship with food. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the food fears. We're going to talk about the food rules. We're going to be talking about all the reasons why you and food are not friends. So let's dive in. So here's the challenge. When you're someone who's struggling with your gut issues, at some point in your journey, you have likely been told that you need to cut foods out. You need to eliminate. You need to restrict. You need to isolate the foods that are causing the problem. Except the problem is that food is not what's causing the problem. So you end up in this cycle of taking out all the foods and feeling super restricted, but it's all in the name of fixing your gut. And so you're willing to do whatever it takes. Except eventually what we don't realize is we develop these very real food fears that turn into a disordered relationship with food. And so now we're not only dealing with disordered relationship with food, but we're all still having to figure out how to fix our gut because food wasn't the problem in the first place. Now here's where it gets particularly fucked up. Most of us come into this season of our life of trying to figure out how to fix our gut already having developed disordered relationship with food because of diet culture, because of lack of modeling of what true health looks like as children, of what healthy relationship with food looks like. And instead, we've been taught to process emotions via food, right? So hands up for all of the emotional eaters here. So there's a combination of emotional eating, right? Then if you're ever someone who has gotten caught in the trap of diet culture, I think everyone needs to raise their hand, whether you are someone who has struggled to put on weight or someone who has struggled to put or take off weight. I mean, we are all being filtered through this idea of what it looks like to be beautiful. And this has fucked our relationship with food. And what you're probably grappling with is like these back and forth confusing messages of food rules and food restriction and all of these parameters that you are trying to box yourself into that are impossible to live by. Right? But not only that, they're conflicting because there's things in your head like dairy's bad. No, gluten's bad. No, you should be eating dairy. You should be eating really good quality, raw, grass-fed dairy. And then there's the whole no. You must follow low FODMAPs. Or if you want to make your life particularly miserable, follow the GAPS diet. And then maybe you're even thinking, do you know what? I shouldn't eat after 7 p.m. Or I should just intermittent fast the rest of my life. And actually scratch that. Let's do keto and never eat carbs ever again in my life. Or maybe I should be carnivore and eat all of the meats and absolutely stuff myself on them. And you see, the insanity of all this is by the time we're done, there's nothing for us to eat. There's no good time to eat. There's never a right way to eat. And so we end up carrying so much guilt and shame around what we are eating because we constantly feel we're doing wrong by our bodies. And so when we get into a dynamic of trying to fix our gut and we find out that we have specific damage, deficiencies, and infections present that may require some short-term changes, it is extremely triggering. And not only that, but combined with a lifetime of food rules and food restriction and food fear, it literally makes it impossible for you to eat the same foods as your family, to go out to restaurants and enjoy a meal with your spouse, to go out to lunch with your colleagues, right? And so you feel like you're living a fraction of the life because everyone else seems to be able to be normal around you and eat. So there's a couple things that we have to really wrap our noodle around when it comes to food, right? Here's the first thing. You cannot go on a road trip with an empty gas tank. In other words, you can't expect your body to heal with no fuel. And many of our clients come into our program absolutely depleted and absolutely starving themselves, right? Because they're scared. They don't know what to eat. They don't know what's going to hurt them. And so the first thing we have to do is unpack that fear. And this looks different for every person, but the first thing we have to understand is we need whole, healthy foods to heal. Okay, I'm not talking about Big Macs, but you need food to heal. All right, that's the first thing. Step 2, and blowing this up, is you got to get super aware of what's going on inside your head. And the best way to do that is to sit down, and I promise you this won't take long, because once you open this stuff up, it will come flowing out of you. Is you got to write down all of the food rules and conditions that you've collected throughout your life, all of them. Write down all the foods that you think are bad. Write down all the foods that you think you can't have. The conditions, like what foods do you think you have to eat together or can't eat together, or what are all of these crazy making thoughts that are going on inside your head around food? Write that shit out. Now, for some people, just having this awareness and understanding that it doesn't make sense that the very thing that is meant to keep us alive, food, is the problem, and that we actually need it to heal, and then we identify what these crazy food rules are, for some people, that's enough to just totally unlock things and make things feel lighter and abandon what's not serving them anymore. But if you're like me, and you've been in this for a long time, right? You've been trying to unpack this and you've been through all the diet stuff, and you've been trying to fix your gut, and you've done all the restrictive diets, and none of it seems to be working. You may need to walk this path with me, right? This is something I've had to do. It took me about, I want to say 8 months to a year. But what I did is I allowed myself to eat whatever the I wanted. I gave myself permission to eat whatever I wanted, because the restriction, the idea that I couldn't eat these foods, there were so many food rules against healthy foods and non-healthy foods that it honestly made me want these foods even more. And so I would go through these phases of way overeating and then way undereating and like restriction and then binging. And there was such a swinging pendulum between the extremes that my body was never able to gain any traction. And so giving myself permission to eat whatever the hell I wanted actually helped me heal even faster, because my body was consistently being fed. But not only that, I wasn't under stress because I wasn't shaming myself for every single bite. And then all of a sudden, food started to feel neutral again. I didn't feel emotionally charged. I also stopped going to foods to process my emotions. Now, a lot of people think that they have to follow some super restrictive diet to be able to fix their gut. But I, as well as our clients inside our Love and Trust Your Guts program, are living proof that you don't. What you need to do is unfuck your relationship with food, right? Because our relationship with food is what's charging our nervous system, and it's stressing our body. And the more stressors we have, the more depleted our gut becomes. And so many people have this journey of going into extreme restriction on one end of the pendulum. And oftentimes, to find balance, we have to swing all the way to the other end of the pendulum of allowing full permission to eat whatever we want, to be able to neutralize the feeling so that we can come back and land in the middle and find balance. And that is where we find longevity in health. That is where we find maintenance of good health. Now, when you land in this place and you find peace with food again, your choices and your decisions around food change. because it becomes from a loving place. It comes from this, is this a yes or no for me right now? Not a, this is a good or bad food. In other words, I am being good or bad. It's just a yes or no for right now. And it makes these choices for our health so much easier. So much easier. And so if you're someone who wants to be able to fix their gut without restrictive diets, and maybe has a bit of unfucking to do when it comes to their relationship with food, then please reach out. Let's book a call together with our team. We're going to go through all the symptoms you've been struggling with, figure out what might be missing, and if it makes sense for us to work together. All right, so if you're looking for that support, you can book a call right here, and I hope to see you soon.